I used to be that guy. She would look at me a second longer than necessary, then look away like nothing happened. I told myself, I'm imagining it. She remembered every small detail I told her, things I had already forgotten I even said. I told myself, that's just what good friends do. She came closer, then suddenly went cold. I told myself, she's just not interested. I was wrong, completely wrong, and because of that, I lost her. Today I'm going to show you exactly what I missed. I've read 3 books on human psychology and attraction, applied every concept to my own life, and what I'm about to share with you will change how you see every interaction going forward. But before we go deeper, tell me in the comments right now, are you currently confused about a girl in your life? Just type yes or no. I personally reply to every comment. At the very end of this video, I'll tell you the exact moment she will start moving closer to you on her own, without you forcing anything. But first, you need to understand these 3 things. I was reading The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. There's a line in that book that completely stopped me. People rarely communicate their feelings directly. They send signals. And the man who cannot read those signals will always be confused. Since childhood, we've been taught, if someone likes you, they'll tell you. That is a lie. Especially when it comes to emotionally intelligent women. A woman who is aware of her own feelings does not confess, she reveals. She shows it in fragments, in contradictions. In moments that look like nothing, unless you know exactly what to look for. And this is where most men completely fail. They're waiting for a confession that's never going to come, while she's been sending signals the entire time. This is where I failed, and this is what I want to fix for you today. A little later, I'll show you the exact moment she realizes, even subconsciously, that she's attracted to you. Once you understand that, everything becomes clear. I read a book called Attached by Dr. Amir Levine and Rachel Heller. It's one of the most research-backed books on human bonding. And there's a concept in it called proximity-seeking behavior, in simple terms. When someone is emotionally connected to you, their nervous system automatically pulls them toward you, not consciously, automatically. Now ask yourself honestly, has she ever come to you for a reason that wasn't really necessary? Has she ever stayed in a conversation long after it naturally ended? Has she ever remembered something small you said? Something you yourself had already forgotten? These are not just friendship behaviors. These are emotional tracking signals. Her mind is storing you differently than it stores other people. Now here's what I want you to try. Pull back slightly. Become a little less available. Not cold, not rude, just slightly less present. Then watch what happens. If she only sees you as a friend, nothing will change. She won't even notice. But if attraction exists beneath the surface, something will shift. She'll suddenly have more to say. She'll find random reasons to reach out. She'll create situations to be near you. That is psychology, not guessing. Remember I said I'd tell you when she starts moving closer on her own? What you just learned is the foundation of that. The full answer is coming at the end. But right here, 90% of men make a mistake that destroys everything. I made this mistake myself. And I'll show you exactly what it is. Coming up next, let me be honest with you. When I sensed she might feel something, I leaned in harder. I texted more. I became more available. I started proving my value, thinking if I just showed her enough, she would finally make it clear. And then, she slowly started pulling away. I thought it was rejection. But Why Men Love Bitches by Sherry Argov taught me something I wish I had known years earlier. It wasn't rejection. It was imbalance. Attraction has its own rhythm. It needs to breathe. It needs space to exist. And when you flood the connection with too much certainty, too much availability, too much effort, you kill the very tension that was making her feel something. Here's the truth that most men never want to hear. She is not responding to how much you give. She is responding to how she feels in your presence. And when your behavior starts to feel like pressure, even subtle pressure, it disrupts her emotional rhythm. Think about the moments when she seemed most attracted to you. Be honest. Were you trying to impress her? Or were you simply relaxed, present, and grounded? Attraction grows in the absence of neediness, not in the presence of effort. Have you ever made this exact mistake? Drop it in the comments. I know the feeling. And I'll reply. That was the mistake. Now you know what not to do. But knowing what not to do is only half the picture. Now, I want to show you the most misunderstood signal in all of modern dating psychology. Subtle jealousy. Not the dramatic kind, the quiet kind she will never admit, coming up right after this. Have you ever casually mentioned another girl and noticed something shift in her? Not anger, not accusation, just a brief pause. A slight change in her tone, a micro withdrawal that lasted a few seconds. Then everything went back to normal, like nothing happened. That was quiet jealousy, and it reveals something important. Robert Greene writes in The Laws of Human Nature, "We only feel possessive over what we have unconsciously claimed as ours." She hasn't claimed you, she hasn't said anything, but her mind, without her permission, has already placed you in a category that isn't purely platonic. And that moment of micro-jealousy, that's the proof. Now here's where most men completely destroy it. They see that reaction and they get excited. They start using it, trying to trigger it, making her jealous on purpose. Don't do that. Jealousy is a diagnostic signal, not a weapon. The right response is to stay completely calm, steady, grounded, unaffected. Because here's what happens when you do that. Her nervous system expected a reaction from you. You didn't give one. And that emotional stability in a moment of uncertainty is one of the most powerful forms of attraction that exists. Not because it pushes her, because it makes her feel safe enough to feel more. Remember I said I'd show you the exact moment she realizes she's attracted to you? This is it. The moment your absence, or your mention of another girl, creates even a slight emotional reaction in her, that's when she starts asking herself, why does this affect me? And she won't answer that question out loud, but internally, everything has already shifted. There's one more signal. It's the quietest one, and it's the most honest. It happens when a conversation could have ended, and she doesn't end it. She stays. She lingers. She keeps adding to the conversation, not because she has something important to say, but because something inside her doesn't want the moment to stop. This is not friendship behavior alone. This is emotional presence. And emotional presence only happens when someone is feeling something they haven't fully defined yet. Her mind has categorized you as an emotional variable, something unresolved, something she hasn't figured out yet. And the human mind stays close to what it hasn't resolved. Now I want you to notice something else. She remembers what you say. Not the big important things, the small things. A story you told casually. A preference you mentioned once. A detail you completely forgot. But she didn't. That is called selective emotional encoding. Her brain is marking your words as important before she even consciously realizes why. And this is the stage where most men panic and ruin it. They try to increase intensity, more attention, more investment. Don't. This is the stage where she is not deciding if she feels something. She is deciding if she can trust what she feels. And every time you stay calm, patient, and unaffected, you answer that question for her. This is what you've been waiting for since the beginning. When will she come closer on her own, without you forcing it? She will move closer when she experiences. You are emotionally stable. You are not chasing her validation. You are the same man whether she's warm or cold. Being around you feels safe, not pressured. This is called emotional safety. And you don't build it with more effort. You don't build it with more texting. You don't build it with grand gestures. You build it with the quality of your presence. When you're around her, grounded. When she's distant, unbothered. When she's warm, calm. When she's cold, still calm. That consistency, over time, anchors you in her subconscious. And that is when she starts moving. Not because you convinced her, not because you proved something, but because being close to you feels like the natural thing to do. That's the answer I promised you from the very beginning. No force, no pressure, no chasing. Just you, steady, grounded, and real. If I had known all of this earlier, I wouldn't have leaned in harder when I should have leaned back. I wouldn't have proved myself when I should have just been myself. I wouldn't have lost her trying to hold on too tightly. And maybe things would have gone differently. I can't go back. but you still can. So here's what I want you to do right now. Comment below. Which one of these signals have you seen in your situation? I personally read and replied to every comment. Save this video. You will need to come back to it. Subscribe. Because next week, I'm breaking down exactly how to start a conversation with her that makes her think about you long after it's over. And remember this, she is not drawn to the man who chases her. She is drawn to the man who doesn't lose himself trying to get her. Be that man.